Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts, and in today's video we're going to be making this gift box. If we untie the ribbon and use the hearts, we have a lid element on the top, and if we use the second heart we have a drawer at the bottom, so we have a 2-compartment box. Let me show you how I put the project together. If we start with the front and the sides of the box, I have a piece which is 10 by 6.5, and this is for a box with an overall size of 3 by 3 by 6, and within that there will be the box section and the drawer section. Along the 6-inch side, score at 1/2 inch. Rotate so the 1/2 inch tab is at the bottom, and score at 1/2, 3.5, 6.5 and 9.5. So this gives us our 1/2 inch glue tabs at either end and our side, front, side panel. Rotate so the 1/2 inch tab is on the left, and score at 5 inches within the middle 3-inch section only. I'm going to set my stylus at 5 inches. I'm not pushing down. When I get to the first 3-inch score line, I'm going to score across within the second 3-inch panel. So there is my additional score line between this score line and this score line. Rotate the piece again, the 1/2 inch tab is at the bottom, and I'm going to score at 4 inches down to the new score line and at 6 inches down to the new score line. So my middle section now has these 3 additional score lines. Fold and burnish along all of the score lines. Rotate the piece so the 1/2 inch tab is in front of you. We're going to start with the first score line on the left hand side. We're going to remove the intersecting square. And then cut a wedge from the top of the side glue tab. And at the moment I'm leaving this edge here straight. Move along to the next score line and cut up to the horizontal, like so, and move along to the next score line and cut up to the horizontal, and move along to the final score line and remove that outer bottom right hand square, and take a wedge from the top of the side glue tab. So this is how we look so far. Rotate the piece and fold under the top and the bottom tabs. And we're going to remove this middle section. You might feel happier using a trimmer. I'm just going to go along with my scissors and remove that middle tab. So this is our piece, and these 2 flaps here are going to sit inside the top and be supports for the lid. Keep your tabs at the top. I'll explain now what we're going to do. Each of these additional score lines we're going to cut along. So we'll cut along this central score line, and we'll cut up these 2 score lines which run vertically, and these will create tabs, and this middle section will be cut out. I'm going to use my craft knife and ruler. I'm going to sit my craft knife at the end of the score line, line my ruler up and cut down within the middle panel. What you want to do is try and cut away the score line, which I haven't done, so I'm just going to go in, move my ruler slightly and just put an additional cut line in. So that's my edge. I'm going to take my scissors and cut up the 2 score lines. So that removes this middle section, and then you want to cut a wedge from the end of the tab, and then I'm just going to have to snip that little straight piece away. Hopefully you will have done yours correctly first time. and won't have to be doing this. So these two tabs are going to fold back to the inside of the box. And I've done that because I wanted to create a little bit of an edge here. I didn't want that to be a cut edge look. I want the drawer to be as hidden as possible, so I want it to look like a continuation of the side of the box. I'm going to flip the piece over, add some glue to the tabs, and I'm going to glue them to the inside of the box. They're purely for aesthetics, they don't serve any purpose other than that. So if you're happy with a cut edge, you don't need to have these tabs, but you will still need to have the top cut edge, as this is creating the opening for the drawer. I'm going to burnish those down. Under normal circumstances, what you may do to create this box is you might create a box and a drawer element separately, but I didn't want it to be evident that there were two boxes stuck on top of each other. So hence I've made the box in a slightly unconventional way by creating one whole piece, and then I'm going to add in a hidden base. We'll now create the base, which is going to separate the box from the drawer. I have a piece of cardstock which is 4 by 4 and on all four sides score at 1/2 inch. In addition, I have an optional piece, and this is a 1/16 of an inch under 3 by 3, and this is going to sit inside just for some additional strength. So depending on what you plan on putting in the box, you might not need this. Fold and burnish along all of the score lines. Take your scissors and cut away the intersecting corners like so, and then cut a wedge from the ends of the glue tabs. And do that on all four corners. So our base will line up with the top cut edge here. We will add glue to the rest of our glue tabs and we'll pull up the sides, and that will enclose our base into place. And then we will adhere our back panel to these long glue tabs. Before I do anything else, I'm just going to take a wedge from the ends of these glue tabs while it springs to mind. Now, what you can do to ensure that you get your base in as level as possible is take your ruler, line your ruler up with your cut line in the middle section and draw a pencil line all the way across, which you can then use as a guide to make sure that you're sitting your base piece in flat. I'm going to add my strengthener into the middle of the base, which is going to sit in like a tray. Whilst that's drying, I'm going to re-burnish these long glue tabs because I want to make sure these wrap around the back properly. Add construction glue to one of your base glue tabs. I'm going to add it onto what will be the two side tabs as well. Line the scored edge for the base up with the cut edge. You don't want it sitting inside the cut edge because that's our drawer opening. Once that's sitting squarely and level, I'm going to just push the tab down with my fingers on the inside, and then I'm going to pull up one side, use the pencil line as a guide, do the same on the other side. So I'm lining the scored edge of the base up with the pencil line. And once I'm happy that's in the right place, I'm going to flip the box over and go in and burnish the tabs with my score tool. So that's our base to separate our box piece. And you can see there's no evidence on the outside that there's a separate box on the inside. We're now going to add the outer bottom base. I have a piece which is 4 by 3.5. Along the 4-inch side, score at 1/2, and 3.5, and along the 3.5-inch side, score at 1/2. Fold and burnish. Take your scissors, cut away the intersecting squares, and then take a wedge from the ends of each of the glue tabs. So this raw edge here without a tab on is going to be the front of the drawer section. These two tabs will sit on the inside of the drawer section, and then the tab at the back can either sit inside or over the top of the long glue tabs. I'm going to add my glue to the two side tabs. Fold those in and line up the scored edge. Make sure it's lined up at the front. That's what's going to be seen, so make sure it's sitting nicely, and then repeat on the other side. Flip the box over and just make sure it's sitting flat on the worked surface. And I'm going to flip the box on its side and go in and burnish down the tabs. Now you can have this top tab here on the inside or the outside of the side glue tabs, that's entirely up to you. I'm going to add a dot of glue onto the ends of this top glue tab and just push that down and secure that into place. Whilst that's drying, you'll need a piece for the back panel which is 6 by 3, and that is just going to sit on the back like so. I'm going to use my construction glue and add it to the tabs all the way round, and add some to this tab in the middle. Sit my back panel on the back, and I'm going to use that to square everything into place, and then go in through the drawer opening and burnish down the tabs. And then I can go in from the top of the box and burnish down the tabs. So this is our box. For the box tray, you'll need a piece which is 6 1/16 by 6 1/16. Take a piece of scrap cardstock, the same cardstock as you're using for the tray, fold it in half and butt it in against the top left hand side of the scoreboard, and then butt your cardstock against it. Remove the piece of card and score at 1 5/8. So when you push your cardstock back in against the corner, your score line will be on the downward notch to the right hand side of the 1.5 inch mark on the scoreboard. Rotate and do that on all four corners. So when you measure the internal square, you should find that this is 1/16 under 3 inches, which means that the drawer will fit in and out of the drawer aperture easily. So we're now going to make our tray, fold and burnish along all of the score lines. Cut up the first score line to the first horizontal like so. Repeat on the right hand side. And then cut a wedge from these corner tabs. Rotate the piece 180 degrees and repeat at the other end. Add glue to the tabs, fold the tabs in, make sure you get a nice crisp right angle and construct your tray. And you should find that your tray slots nicely into the gap like so. We're now going to make the lid, and for a box this size you want to start with a piece which is 3 inches wide and 9 inches long. Along the 9-inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches. Fold and burnish these two score lines and cut a wedge from the end of the 1/2 inch glue tab. I'm just going to show you with a finished box what it is that we're trying to achieve. So the 1/2 inch hinge will be stuck into the back of the top of the box. The 3-inch section will come across the front, and this top part and the top of the drawer front was the remainder of the cardstock. And you can see that there's a 1/2 inch gap between the bottom of the top flap and the top of the drawer front. So hopefully you can see what it is that we're trying to achieve. And what we will do is when we cut our piece, we will measure along so that our shaped piece just sits higher than the drawer front so that the drawer remains hidden. Hopefully, if I show you this now, the next steps will make a little bit more sense. From the strip, we've got our glue tab, the top of the box, and then the remaining box. And as I said, I've allowed a 1/2 inch gap between the bottom of the top of the lid and the top of the drawer front. What we want to do is make sure that we allow for the height of the drawer front. So I'm going to measure along from the bottom edge 1 5/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to use my ruler to measure along, make a pencil mark. So whichever shape I choose for my box front, I want to make sure that I don't cut below that pencil mark. I'm going to have a simple diagonal, so I'm going to use my trimmer, sit my pencil line up against my cutting blade and rotate my piece until I've got an angle that I like the look of. So I can go above the pencil mark, but I can't go below the pencil mark. So I'm just going to cut, add glue to the hinge and sit the hinge in the back of the box and make sure that the lid can move backwards and forwards freely. Fold down the inside tabs. Now you might find, as I have, that you might need to shape the ends of those tabs slightly. So because of the way I've scored, I'm just going to snip away some from the end of that tab and repeat on the other side. So my lid now comes over the front nicely, and that's the front flap for my lid. We now want to stick on the drawer front. Put the drawer in, don't push it all the way in. I'm going to get rid of the pencil mark, add glue to the front of the drawer. I'm just going to strand the box up and sit the drawer front on the top because I want to make sure that the bottom of the drawer front is not any lower than the drawer. So I know it's now lined up with the base. It's sitting flat on the worktop. Make sure it's lined up at the sides. I haven't pushed it in all the way, and I'm going to sit and let that dry. So my drawer's now dry, that moves in and out, and I'm going to go ahead with my decoration, and I want to try and disguise the front flap and the drawer front as much as possible. So we'll see how I get on. Here's my finished box. You can see I've added DSP onto all of the sides. I had some wooden ephemera in my stash. I've glued 2 hearts together, which I've then glued onto 3 wooden discs, and I've covered the front of the heart in Nuvo drops. If we undo the ribbon, we can use the top heart to lift up the flap for the box element, and we can use the second heart to pull open the drawer at the bottom. When you are looking at the box from the front, the flap and the drawer front are pretty much disguised. You would just think that the front of the box has got 2 decorated panels on front of it. You can't actually tell that the hearts actually serve some purpose. The box has done exactly what I wanted it to do. Overall, I'm really happy with how it's come out. I think it's a lovely gift box, serves a lot of purposes and can also be used for storage afterwards. And the concept of construction can be used for any box size you need. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.